and welcome to The Bottom Line, where we dig into some of the bigger business and economic stories of the day. The gaming industry is a fascinating microcosm of its own and is pretty big in Poland. These days, it is associated with quality, creativity and innovation. But that wasn't always the case. Many gamers await the release of Frostpunk 2, which is scheduled for tomorrow. Today, I am joined by Mateusz Chrzanowski from Noble Securities, who will tell us about how the industry has grown over the last few years and what's new. Hello, and thank you very much for joining us on The Bottom Line.
Hello.
So Frostpunk 2 comes out tomorrow, and clearly its predecessor was a success. 5 million copies sold in 6 years. Can you tell us about Frostpunk and what made it so popular in the first place?
Maybe at the beginning we should some words about global situation in gaming industry. Last year was difficult for the game producer, not only for our companies but globally. The cost of capital was increasing, so lots of the project was cancelled. On the Polish market, this especially affected the People Can Fly studio because they lost a deal with Take-Two Interactive. By, I guess, the global impact, the worst time in global impact is gone. Yes, tomorrow we have a final release for Frostpunk 2 because advanced access was Tuesday, and analysts expect better results for the Frostpunk 2 than in the first game. But share price has been falling since yesterday. The first time it was a reaction to the brand media reviews, but I was surprised because this rating is really good. Additional, I can see a lot of views on the Twitch platform and high place in the Steam selling ranking, top sellers. But today we ran the first statistics regarding the number of people playing Frostpunk 2 live on the Steam, and share price fall really strong because the investors are concentrate whether the sequel will improve the results of the first game. I think response is too much because sales still may be good, and as expected, our forecast is 1,080,000 copies in this year. So we are optimistic, but the market consensus is near to 1,002,000 copies. So yes, 1,020,200 copies. Okay. This result we can see it's still.
Well, I actually want to move on to talk about. I want to actually move on to talk about the Polish gaming industry because it's actually a great success story. The Polish gaming industry is actually quite big, and I think a lot of people who perhaps aren't in gaming, they're not actually, perhaps they aren't gamers, they don't actually know about it. The gaming industry actually employs a lot of people, 15,000 people in comparison. Perhaps it actually employs a lot more people than perhaps in Spain, Germany, and other European countries. And I wanted to ask you if you could tell our viewers, how did that actually happen? How did that Polish gaming industry actually develop over the years? Because it wasn't always the case.
We have a lot of very experienced people. There are many producers listed on our stock exchange. So our market, you can see easily find employees with a big portfolio. For example, veterans of the Witcher series, but also smaller games. The next thing is a salary. We are still cheap compared to Europe and really cheap compared to United States. So it's a good mix for the investment and building a new studio in our country. For example, in this year, Microsoft Gaming and Larian studio opened its branches. We have a lot of its branches in Poland, but we can see we have a lot of examples of equity investment for example Tencent and Techland or Krafton and People Can Fly. So our country is really interesting for the foreign investor to making the game in our country.
But it was also it was also a little bit of a niche market, but then there was a little bit of a tipping point. And now actually in terms of revenue, the Polish market, excuse me, is actually 26th globally. Can you tell us when that tipping point came to be? When it actually developed and sort of exploded, shall we say, comparatively speaking, obviously?
I think the biggest company is a CD Projekt and Techland. They still will be producing AAA titles, but in next other companies is smaller. So the new studios by Microsoft and Larian will be make biggest game, but it's not but it's not our IP. Yes, it's not. It won't be our game, our IP. So if we make some bigger games, we must investment to bigger company. Of course, if Polish companies develop well, I can certainly see some candidates for AAA games. For example, 11-bit studios. Now they creating a AA production, but in future, if they develop will be good, the far to go to AAA is not long. Maybe People Can Fly, CI Games or Bluebird, but it's for all these companies have some problems.
Well, I was wondering whether you could tell us
challenge.
about the story of Cyberpunk 2077, because that it had record sales, and also just the success story of that. Can you just tell us that story a little bit to our viewers?
On the beginning, the Cyberpunk was really problematic release, because the company can't fixing a problem with optimization for PlayStation and Xbox console. But now, after release, the adding part of the Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty, the reviews go up, and the IP, the franchise, is perspective. But the most success CDR is Witcher franchise, and I think in December we can see something more about the next Witcher, maybe some trailer during the Game Award event.
And I wanted to just ask you, as a final question, do you think that Poland can be a leader, a regional leader in terms of the gaming industry, perhaps as it expands its presence in the region, and perhaps as an industry role model for, let's say, Hungary, the Czech Republic, and perhaps other countries in the region can learn from Poland as the gaming industry develops?
I think yes, because we have a good human resource. We are competitive in terms of price. The finance of our largest company are good. They don't using debt. They have fund for the next group for the next production by our earnings from previous games. Experience is increasing, so we should be still important areas for the global gaming. Of course, AI maybe change everything, but it's an opportunity and threat for everyone. And now it's really to make a prediction. But in Czech Republic, we was 2K Studio. 2K Studio was born in Czech Republic. They created the famous IP Mafia, but now it's owned by Take-Two, so they are more sensitive to global shocks, and they don't have our IP, so it's only outsourcing. In Romania, we have we have a Ubisoft studio, the second biggest team in the group, but they have some good project in portfolio, but it's only outsourcing. So I can see now a candidate in our region who could be a famous as CDR, sell as many copies of games and generate such financial results.
Okay, Mateusz Chrzanowski, thank you very much for joining us on The Bottom Line today.
Thank you.
That was Mateusz Chrzanowski of Noble Securities with us today. Thank you so much for joining us on The Bottom Line. I was your host, Marie Cato. Join us again tomorrow at 5 p.m. on TVP World. Goodbye.